Sai Rama, thank you all so much for joining us today on the auspicious occasion of Easwaramma Day. We'll be following the program as sent in the email, and just a gentle reminder to please be unmuted throughout the session, but please feel free to ask questions during the question and answer session. We'll be starting off with the 3 Oms.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Gananam Tvam Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatana Sunvannutibi Siddhasadhanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebirvajinivati Dhinama Vitrayavatu Ganeshaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Sai Rama, now we'll be having a SSSC presentation by our education coordinator, Satya. Sairam, Satya.
Sairam, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Sairam, happy Mother's Day to everyone. In the SSSC class, we have been working on the 5 human values as taught by Swami, Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa. For the Easwaramma Day, for our Mother's Day, we are working on a life application of love. We did a small kids activity, a crafts activity. We made a card for all the mothers. That is the work by all the kids. It's a rolling slide over card. It says, I'm very thankful for my mother and it has 6 quadrants. In each of the quadrants, the children wrote what they are thankful for, identifying 6 main things that they love their mother for. Some of them wrote for their yummy food. Some of them wrote for giving life to me. Some of them wrote for your love for me. And some of them wrote for always cheering me, for always being there for me. Here are all some of the artwork by the kids. We offer our love to Swami with a small kids activity of love from our SSSA children. Thank you, Sairam. Back to you, Karthik.
Wow, Sairam. That was such an amazing presentation and an awesome activity. Thank you so much, Satya.
Thank you, Karthik.
Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, Satya.
So now we'll be moving on to our guest speakers. So first, we'll be passing on the mic to for the introduction.
Okay. Hi Rama, we are blessed to have 2 guest speakers today. We are starting with Nagamani Konduri Garu. We are blessed to have with us Sister Nagamani Konduri and Brother KJ Srinivas on the auspicious occasion of Easwaramma Day. First, we will be having Sister Nagamani Konduri Garu share her experiences. She did her MA Telugu Literature from Usmania University and is from Hyderabad. She worked for Food Corporation FCI for 25 years and took VRS. She came into Sai following her mother's footsteps, late Srimati Rukmini Garu. Swami used her as a pen in his hands and granted the boon of translating a few English books of Sai devotees into Telugu. She feels privileged that Swami's grace enabled her to translate the legendary epic Loving God written by late Professor N. Kasturi Garu. That was her maiden translation. Next was Satyam Shivam Sundaram, 4th part, part 4. Late Dr. R.T. Kakade Garu gave her the opportunity to write 11 chapters in his Popular book, Shirdi to Patti, both in English and Telugu. Later on, the following books were translated into Telugu. Sai Avatar of Love, Vision of Sai Part 2 by Srimati Rita Bruce, Satya Sakha, Abdul Rajak Korbu, Sakshat Parabrahma, Sri Satya Sai, Devotees Experiences, Inspired Medicine by Judy Warner, Divya Vadu by Dr. Santamagaru, Yugavatari, Sri Hanuman Tappagaru, Namasmarana, Kaliyuga Sadhana by Sri M.S. Prakash Rao Garu, and much more. Apart from these, she wrote one book named Jivita Paramarthamu, Vedanta Saramu. This all is because of Swami's abundant grace. She is indebted to her mother who guided her to the Kali Yuga avatar, Sri Bhagwan Sat Sai Baba. Without her, she is not here today to share her experiences. Now, I humbly would like to hand over the mic to Sister Nagamani Konduri Garu. Sairam Andi.
Sairam Lakshmi Garu, Sairam everybody, Sairam the whole Sai family who assembled here, and my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri 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 Satya Sai Baba Varu, who made me to talk on this auspicious occasion, Easwaramma Day, mother of Easwara, Lord Easwara. And she was rightly named after by his father-in-law when he was married to his son. He named her Easwaramma, and it was proved when Swami was born to her, and we are all mostly privileged, and I never expected that I will have this opportunity to share my experiences with many thanks to the Sai Center of Kansas. I humbly request all of you, please bear with me, because I'm not used to this accent and all. I just studied in Telugu medium, and slowly I try my level best to communicate in English. And today being Easwaramma Day, Mother's Day, we are celebrating. Our Vedas said, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Ati Devo Bhava. Vedas gave the first place to mother. So she is having the Trinity in her, creator, sustainer, and everything, Brahma, Vishnu, Iswara Tattva, all these three are in mother. And I'm more privileged, I'm grateful to my mother, who happened to be my spiritual guru. And I got married in 1975. Until 1984, life was going on. And suddenly in 1984, after having 2 darshans of Swami, my mother, Srimati Rukminamma, she got into Swami's fold quite surprisingly. Because why I'm telling surprisingly, she was never acquainted with Swami literature, Swami, anything. She doesn't know anything about Sai Baba. We were just living in Hyderabad. My father expired in 1974 cardiac arrest. After that, 10 years, she fulfilled all her responsibilities. She had 5 kids, one son, and we 4 sisters. My elder brother is in Delhi, and ours is a nice, beautiful family. But somehow, she got detachment towards this worldly attachments. She thought of living at one place and live like Vanaprasthasrama, what do you call it? In olden days, kings used to quit all their kingdom and stay in forests, and they used to just live their latter life, old age like that. But nowadays, this is something different, these things. And on Easwaramma Day, I feel this is, I have to talk about my mother with some introduction. See, in Easwaramma Garu, she asked her son 3 boons: education for children. Swami established great university from LKG to PG, all free education. And next, Swami, when she wanted medical facilities, he established the great super specialty hospital. And she asked water for the village people, and Swami took up the great water project. And in the avatar mission of Sri Satya Sai Baba Varu, apart from these 3, another 4th dimension is there. He came to wake up the humanity, telling that I am God is only half truth. You are also God is the complete truth. He repeatedly said, not only I am God, you are also God, he was telling, to realize that self and to wake up us, to guide us to the origin from where we have come. That is the main avatar mission, our 4th dimension of Swami's avatar mission. For that, my mother used to say, in this Kali Yuga also, this is possible. We can attain moksha by trying in this man, now and here only. That we can do with unshakable faith. Unshakable faith and devotion, ekagrata, or one-pointed parama bhakti, like that. So in 1982, 1983, she saw Swami in Madras. After that, somehow, some changes came in her and she thought of living alone. So in 1984, before Guru Purnima Day, she went to Puttaparthi with my brother. And one day previous night, she cried bitterly. Just like Gajendra, he prayed to the unknown God. Gajendra prayed, Evaniche Janinchu, like that. Like my mother, who will be my companion in this old age? Jivana Sandhya Samayan law. So this Sandhya Samayan law means Swami only became her companion and led her to the highest goal of Advaita. And she never knew all these things, but just she prayed, who is going to be my companion? So then she went to Puttaparthi, and while going to Parthi, from Madras to Parthi, she started having some visions. And she doesn't know, because she studied only 3rd class. Those days, women were not allowed to do higher studies or anything. So she was born in a village, Repal, and only studied up to 3rd class. She got married at the age of 14. So she never read any scriptures like this, or she's acquainted with the spiritual terminology too. With that, only thing is she didn't read Bhagavad Gita, but she practiced Bhagavad Gita in her daily life. From dawn to sunset, night till she sleeps, her duty is to sincerely discharge her domestic chores. So Karma Yogi, she was a Karma Yogi. And God likes all these qualities. He never wants to call any by any name, he responds. So like that, she went, and she had the unique good fortune of receiving direct teachings of the most intricate spiritual concepts in human divine relationship that would ultimately help to reach the divine lotus feet. She received these messages through inner voice. She used to get some visions She used to hear some words, and later on she used to get some divine dreams. And later Swami, through inner voice, communicate to some spiritual meanings and all that. So 13th July 1984, first time she visited Puttaparthi, and she saw one black, thick, curly head, short, say, statured person just beside the driver's seat. Later on, she came to know he is nothing but the Sanatana Sarathi, Partha Sarathi, who dwells in the human hearts. God resides in our hearts only, and he only drives the life, this Jivita, our life, our driver. So like that. So many something just in 1995, Swami said, "I'll show you some divine leelas. I'll show you some these things. You write down all those things." And she started penning down all those things. And I had the unique privilege of listening everything from her directly. And first, in the beginning, I used to wonder. And I never saw my mother doing any puja or all rituals or anything. But now, all of a sudden, she's getting all these things. And most surprisingly, she's telling the depth of spirituality, so many words, and which she is not acquainted to. And Bhagavan, first, as I said, a dark, complex person of short stature with thick curly hair. Photo was kept just beside the bus driver's seat. Later on, she came to know that he is her Jivana Sarathi. And secondly, she has seen at the same place Baba sprinkling vibhuti on a lotus-shaped pillar. She never know that it is the Sanatana Dharma stupa. She doesn't know that. And while sitting in the darshan lines, she happened to see the token, and she picked up a 5-number coin. She doesn't know of these Panchabhutas or Panchapranas, but immediately she had a thought that her Panchapranas merged in Panchabhutas. She said, "This is my new life. My old Rukmini, this body is there, but my soul got merged in God." I don't know where she is getting all these things and all. And from that time, she started her spiritual journey to God. And she had so many visions like that, right from 84 till she passed away in 2021, September 26th. She used to write all those things. She once she saw, for example, one day in one dream, she saw somebody writing 5 names, Om Namah Shivaya and other 5, and somebody pointed out with a cane, Om Namah Shivaya. Then she thought, it is the name given by God himself. I should chant this. And she started the Namajapan mental plane incessantly, just without any, and she, from that moment onwards, she started doing that Panchakshari Japa. And as it was said in our epics and Puranas or Shastras, Veda, whatever we think at the end of the life, that only will be carried for the next birth. Antyakale Bhagavan Nam Smarana. And we never know what is the end of our life and when is the end point comes. If we do the Nama Japa incessantly, that name will come to in our mind. And like that, my mother could chant Panchakshari at the time of her leaving this world. And situation that came across her life led her to get detached from the external world and develop devotion towards God. And the small things she used to see, she used to love to have a locket with Swami's photo and all. But Swami conveyed her through inner voice. If you see the Antaratma, which with the effulgence of millions of suns, where is the need of wearing a locket? Then she stopped that. She just removed the desire of wearing locket. She never wear any jewelry. She stopped wearing everything. Always she used to do the japa. One simple things. For just to give examples, I'm telling you. She saw one onion peeling out the layers. For that, she had the meaning. Swami, what conveyed, when the layers of Maya are peeled out, Atma Jyoti shines with great effulgence. And one time she saw a snake leaving its outer skin, and Swami conveyed, leave the bodily attachment, deha pranti, have detachment with body and get attached to the soul. You are the soul, nothing but else. And one day she has seen one crow, rooster, kokoroko is telling. Anybody may feel that it's what is there in that. But what Swami gave the meaning, the people who are in the slumber, deep slumber of ignorance, Goddess Saraswati wakes them to the wisdom of light. And I really wonder for small things how she's getting all the spiritual meanings and all. And daily, in her daily life, she used to get so many visions. Only for example to tell, she used to listen to Sukti Muktavadi. Those days in radio, we used to get this Sukti Muktavadi. Whatever the good things they tell in that radio, yes, I'm practicing this and I have to follow this. She used to blindly follow that. And whenever, she's doing any daily domestic chore, she's feeling that it's nothing but worshipping the God. She used to see the divinity, the divine existing in each and everything. While washing utensils, she used to feel God exists in that non-living utensils also. They are the forms of God. And the water she's pouring on that is nothing but the sacred Ganga Jal. She used to do that sadhana. When she takes bath herself, she used to say, Swami, these are not my hands. These are not my legs. This body is yours. This is the temple of God. I am cleaning this, the temple of God. I'm keeping it clean and all. These small things, she used to practice and like so many deep meaning she used to get. One day she was, one day she saw one excellent vision. There, one peacock was dancing with all the feathers and all. It's dancing like anything. And it jumped into fire and it burnt away. And there she saw an anthill, the snake where it lives. And that anthill was drenched with the rainwater. And one lady came out of it and she's distributing sweets. She asked me, my name is Nagamani. She asked me, she told me this dream over phone and said, Manama, can you guess any meaning out of this? I had this vision yesterday. I said, Amma, I can't make out anything. Then she said, do you know what Swami conveyed through inner voice? That peacock is nothing but the mind of a sadhaka, which will be dancing with the materialistic worldly desires, waverings, and all disturbances. When that peacock burns in the wisdom of fire, so then the grace of God showers on that sadhaka. Then the melting of, drenching of that anthill means this body is nothing but made of mud. Everybody knows that. Matti kunda. Thus, this will be drenched in the shower of Bhagwan's grace. And when we attain that Atma Jnana, the Kundalini Shakti awakens, and whatever that Jnani speaks, those words will be like sweeter than the sweets in the world. I hope I'm able to convey, Saira. Am I clear?
Yeah, plus, yeah.
Am I clear?
Please proceed.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So, and one day, she is fond of very these beautiful fragrances and all. One day, she decorated Swami's photo with jasmine flowers, and she took it and wore and kept in her hair. And then he dropped it on the floor. Again, she picked it up and kept on Swami's photo. Again, she kept in her hair. And she dropped 2-3 times. She repeatedly did this unknowingly. She didn't understand what's happening. Then Swami said, do you understand what is there in that photo, what is there in you, and what is there in that floor? That is all only one divine. God exists in everything to make you learn this truth. I made you to do all these things. Like that, he used it to convey deepest spiritual meanings. And you see, a mother keeps her child, a teacher keeps the child in their lap, and slowly they will make them write A, B, C, D, or Om Namah Shivaya. Like that, like that Swami taught her, putting her in his lap like a love is of 1,000 mothers, and a person who doesn't know anything of the spiritual and all. He took her to the heights of Advaita, and like this, and one day she cried, hitting her head to the wall. Swami, why don't you speak to me? You will speak to so many people. You are giving interviews. You are giving Pada Namaskar. You are showing me divine leelas, telling all these things to inner voice. But why don't you speak in the outer world externally? And she hit her head to the wall and cried. Immediately Swami said, you always say that you are carrying my feet on your head. Then how come you hurt my feet, which you are carrying on your head? Then she took the oath, I never do this. I will always keep quiet. It's your wish when you will talk or like that. And like this, she's getting some meanings, divine visions, dreams and all. In 1984, on December 11th, all of a sudden, she said, we will go to a temple, some Hanuman temple, she said. I was having 2 daughters by that time. One daughter, Prashanti, and second one, Sirisha. In 84, she was 2 years old. And I was getting ready. I took leave from office, and we were about to go. She was taking her shower. Suddenly, she came out shivering. She said, Mani, do you know, somebody told me something in my ears. Do you know who is going to give me vastram? And I just casually said, Amma, is that the son going to born to me? I said, I don't know. It was a casual question. And I just simply said, then how do you know? I don't know. Bhagwan is in everybody's thing. I don't know. I just said. Then she heard the words that the boy who is going to born to Mani will give you vastram, robe. Those were the words she heard. So then she thought, I may be blessed with a son, and that boy may give her a sari. till that such time, she said, I will never buy any saree unless money becomes pregnant. She is blessed with a son. And whenever Swami wishes to give like that, this is something very peculiar. What I'm trying to communicate in this Kali age also, Swami made it very clear. If the faith is unshakable and you have the Ananya Bhakti, without any other thought, if you keep all your thoughts in Bhagavan and keep keep chanting the Lord's name, you can definitely, with the detachment, that should be pure detachment, not a temporary vairagya. That should be paripurnamainatuvanti pure detachment should be there. Not like a temporary vairagya. People say at the time of delivery, at the time somebody dies, that time people may say so many things detached towards, and that's not correct. The detachment should come from the hearts, and it should be reflected in our words, deeds, and everything. And she just stopped buying anything. What all 2-3 sarees she had, she used to wear that only. And she started her sadhana that Swami will give her one day that rope. And incidentally, in 86, just on Guru Purnima, July 13th, she visited first time Puttaparthi. And coincidence, this is not coincidence. 13th July, I was blessed with a son, and he was named after Prema Sai Raghuram. So this was all going on. In 7th year, we got his thread marriage. And by that time, she got some siddhis, you say, pure mind, during this awakening of Kundalini stages. People will get, when it's not a big thing, we can, when we are connected to the universal mind, universal truth, we will become the oneness with the divinity. It makes us to get some powers. Powers means you can say telepathy or whatever, she used to say something, and that used to be true. Suppose if somebody, not like prophecy, horoscope, she said Jatakam, like it's not like that. With her Atmic power, she used to say, depending upon the others' arti or whatever devotion, or depending upon their karma dates. If she says somebody, they'll get married, it used to happen. And some things like it. She said another 3 boys will be born to this and this and this. And they came, Satya, Shanti, Prema Sai, Shanti Sai, Satya Sai, like that. So then, one time she predicted one marriage. So she said by Ugadi, it will be materialized. And at that time, my cousin met with an accident. And one Sai devotee, you all know, must be knowing, Gopi, son of Sri Sitapati Garu, he gave a Loving God book to my cousin, Vayasan Murthy. Then I happened to read that book. In that book, it was written, it was narrated. Padma, the Kasturi Gari daughter, Padma's marriage was there in that book, Loving God. When I read that episode, I felt like telling my mother. My mother doesn't know English. She knows only Telugu. So I translated the whole episode in Telugu. And I posted it to my mother. Those days, these cell phones, emails and all are not there. Only some STD communication was there. So I posted a very big letter telling, see how Swami materializes things, how beautifully he performed Kasturi Gari daughter Padma marriage. Then I had some intuition, while reading that Loving God. You read this and you translate this. Idi chustu, idi rai, idi chaduvutu, idi rai, Telugulo rai. I hope you understand. That intuition came. Nobody told externally or somebody called like that, I had the intuition of translating that book in Telugu. I don't know the greatness of that book at that time. And I never know what is translation. And I don't know, I was not that much expert in speaking fluent English also, because up to my degree first year, I studied only in Telugu medium in Andhra. And somehow that Kasturi Gari book, actually in the beginning pages, I didn't understand. Then after, I just tried. When Kasturi Garu came to Swami's fold, and then just search, and at some time, at the time of his second son's death, he comes into Swami's fold, and from that page onwards, I started reading and translated this Padma's marriage. So from that page, I started writing the book in Telugu. My intention was, Amma should read. Amma doesn't know English. This book is very beautiful, and these experiences are mind-boggling. So then, till such time, I didn't read any Swami literature or anything. I don't know. And I didn't visit Parthi also by that time. In 86, I was blessed with my son, and in 1988, I started translating this book from March. And I asked my mother, Amma, some intuition I'm getting. Shall I write this in Telugu? When you are feeling like that, you just continue, she said, and she blessed me. And I started from the episode of Gopi's death and Kasturi Garu coming to fold of Swami. I started translating, leaving apart the songs, poems, and all. Only text I translated, and it came to the end. That book is of some 344 pages or something. Till the end, I just translated. When I came to the end of the book, I understood what a great person Professor Kasturi Garu. And I went back, and from the beginning I started, and the earlier pages also I translated. Then also I didn't touch the poems and songs, because I don't know that this thing, So I translated this book, and that manuscript I took, and for the first time, 1988, August 14th, I was in Prashanti Nilayam with this manuscript. I thought, Swami will call me, simply because I don't know anything. I was not acquainted what the procedures and all there. I thought Swami will come. Those days, Swami used to come. People used to keep the books in their hands and use it to bless. I thought Swami will simply come and take away that book from me. But it didn't so happen. And Swami took so many tests, and he made the translation in a refined manner, And he made me to translate all the poems, songs, everything. I don't know that the original Telugu songs are available, because nobody interested this work. I started that, and my office colleagues used to ask me, Nagamani, what are you doing? Something I'm writing like this. What will you do with this? I don't know what I have to do. And later on, and while doing the translation, I felt as if Kasturi Garu entered in me, or I became Kasturi Garu. Whatever he experienced, I just visualized that when he enters. I think most of you might have read that Loving God, almost all Sai fraternity, all Sai family members, mostly must have read that book. In that every sequence, everything I enjoyed, and it is just, even if I think, I feel, I visualize still as if what Kasturi Garu might have felt at the time, that thing happened and it was done. And in the year 1980, the day we went to some relatives' house there, and I told him, I don't know, sir. I have brought this manuscript with me, this Lavinga translation. Just he held it and said, what a miracle. Elanti roju vachavamma. Do you know what day you have come with this manuscript? Today is Kasturi Garu's first anniversary ceremony. He passed away in 1987, August 14th. And I was there at Prashant Nilayam with the translation of Loving God. Later on, I came to know that so many tried doing this, but nobody got the permission. And without giving me permission physically, Swami made it. I was just like a pen in his hands. And my life, it's fulfilled. Why I came into this world, I don't know, but I feel I'm privileged and Swami made this. So that translations and it's next I asked for Satyam Sivam Sundaram fourth part Telugu book in the bookstall. They said, Amma, Telugu has not come, no translation, only English book is available. So I took the English book and I started reading. Just while going to office in the bus, I started reading. Again, somebody whispering in my eyes, do this translation, write it in Telugu, translate that, do it in Telugu. By the time I came to understand some Swami's nature with Kasturi Garu and how he molds his devotees, all this I have some knowledge of that. And I thought myself, Swami, people will laugh at me. You made me to translate that Loving God, and now you are asking me to do this. Who will take this? Who will print it? What is this? I don't know at all. But I continue to do that. Meanwhile, Dr. R.T. Kakadekar came in my life. He's another guru, another father for me. I just went to meet him after reading his Shirdi to Puttaparthi book. Then he narrated his recent experiences. And I thought, I could have taken pen, I could have penned down his experiences. Later on, he gave me the opportunity of writing 11 chapters with the permission of his co-author, Veerabhadra Garu. So he used to dictate in English, I used to write down in English, and next day I used to take the Telugu translation to him. And he used to tell me, Nagamani, your books will come into light. Swami will definitely get them published, he used to say. When my son was of 7 years old, we performed a thread marriage and we took the Vatu to Parthi, Prashant Nilayam for Swami's blessing. Then I handed over these 2 manuscripts of Loving God and Satsang Sivam Sundara to the trust. Then Pramod Kumar Surigaru was the trust convener, book trust that was in the town states next to Pulvanthal. This bookstall was not there those days. I said, I don't know, Sairam, I have translated these books. Please see whether any feasibility is there to accept in bookstall. When I saw on the front page, all the rights are reserved by the trust. So I'm handing over these books to you, sir. Then he said, okay, Amma, we will look into it. I'll send for this review. Then later on, he called me and he said, I got a phone call from Hyderabad, Vipla Computers. So I used to think who will do the proofreading and how it will be in the printed form. I used to get excited. Luckily, that Vipla Computers person, Vijay Senna Reddy, called me, said, who is Nagamani? Are you Nagamani? And I received these books for publication. You have to do the proofreading. I was so thrilled and excited. And I myself did the proofreading for those books. And when I went to Prashant Nilayam again, Surigaru gave me another 4 books like this. He kept on the table and said, Amma, you try to translate his books slowly, one by one, one by one. He gave me Sai Avatar of Love. He gave me that Vision of Sai Part 2 and Spirituality and Health of Dr. Charanjit Puri, Bhakti and Health of Dr. Charanjit Puri. First book I translated again, Sai Avatar of Life. Out of my ignorance or innocence, what to say, I thought, very silly thought. I am the official translator to do English books in Telugu. I can do something like that. And Swami took my test like anything, She got published these two, Loving God and Satyam Sivam Sundaram on Ugadi Day in 1995. The books came, they got reprinted so many times. And these books also one by one, I translated. And two books I gave for review again. And trust people, they lost those two books. And they said, we are sorry because of this shifting stall and all, we misplaced somewhere. We are very sorry. Already the book was reviewed by Professor Anil Kumar. He gave very good review on those books also. Those days, I used to write a rough copy and then fair it. So luckily, because I have the rough manuscript with me, I again did the job. Sai Avatar, I again wrote and I did everything. And again, all books I kept. One day, Mr. Prakash Ragar, MS Prakash Ragar, who happens to be Swami devotee and he's a relative also, he met me in some marriage and asked me, Amma, what books you have done after Loving God? What is your latest book? He asked. Annegaru, these books are held up because they don't have funds because of these water projects and all. So then he said, meet Prasanthi Book Publication Trust at Hyderabad and approach them. So this is another story of my time. From then onwards, they used to print these translated books and kept in bookstall. Later on, I happened to translate Divine Doctor of Dr. Shantama Garu. And the most loved book is Satyasaka Abdul Razak Portu. And very beautiful journey of Portu Garu. And recently I did this Inspired Medicine of a compilation. It's a wonderful, wonderful book, If we read that book, we feel whether doctor is treating or Swami is treating. It's such a miraculous experiences of people. And this translation and all these are because of my mother, she took me to the fold of Swami. First, I used to wonder what she's doing. She is going in Swami's path. Later on, I realized she is my Sadguru. She is my spiritual guru. I am following her footsteps. Then I addressed her as Sadguru. Amma, from today onwards, you are not only my mother, you are my Sadguru. You told me that I'll be blessed with son, but for getting liberation, jnana is the right son. I want only that son. But by the time when I left the desire of having son, Swami blessed me with this. Swami tests first and then blesses, like this, this my translation, it's going on simultaneously. And Amma is going in her path in Advaita. And Aham Brahmasmi Sadhana. Swami, there is no difference between God and me. That doesn't mean that we are in God's position, we are Swami, not that. Bodily, this difference is there. But internally, the soul-wise, everything, the divinity in everybody is one and the same. Universal consciousness. God is prevailing like water. She said, so people may think I am somewhere, Swami is somewhere. No, it's not correct. Swami is within me. Swami is behind me, in front of me, around me. She didn't read these examples. Swami quotes like a fish. Water is around the fish, fish is surrounded with water. It lives in water, in and above, like that, God is around, in and around us, and he dwells in our hearts. There is no difference between these things, And her journey started, spiritual journey to God started with the pretext of giving a robe by my son. Then she was just waiting. One day Swami will come, he will give, like that, She's one day in February, on February 2nd, 1995, she was cooking. At the first time when she went to Puttaparthi, she prayed, Swami, I don't know why I am thinking like this. If I am useful to the society, give me place, 6 feet place in this world, or else give me 6 feet place in the graveyard. There is no purpose of my life if my life is not useful to others. So that was her prayer. Like that, Swami gave her that 6 feet. She lived in a room of just what she asked, 6 by 6. Small table, she used to keep the gas stove, she used to cook herself. And she, like that, she was cooking that day. And Swami said, stop cooking, write down what I am telling. Then immediately she took the paper and pen. This is not, I'm not telling anything what was not happened. This is all the real story, soul journey of my mother. And she started writing what Swami told, very amazing. He said, the boy going to born to Mani. My name is Nagamani. Mani will give you rope. So for that, what meaning he gave, money means the most precious thing in the world. Money. Money means the most precious thing in this whole world. What is the most precious thing except the beautiful Lord's name? If you keep on chanting the name, like what you say, Tailadhara, like oil, it never incessantly, if we chant the name of the Lord, then you will realize the self, Atma Jnana. Jnana, that Jnana is the Jnana Putrudu. Wisdom that dawns by holding on to Lord's name. Then only that is the real renunciation, not simply wearing orange robe and all. See, what is the purpose of wearing an orange robe when your mind is not free of desires and all? When you know that the universal consciousness is in you, and the universal consciousness and you are the same, can you drape a small piece of rope to that universal consciousness? I told you that if you keep on chanting the name, you will realize the divinity within, and that is the rope, consciousness. When you are getting connected to the universal consciousness and become the self, what you call Atma Jnana, that is the Vasra I said. Then she was so happy. Oh, Swami, I took that is the material, some Vasra you will give and all, I thought, but I'm very happy. You blessed me with Atma Jnana. And she continued her sadhana, And one day, one Krishnastami day, she was praying Krishna. She's a very ardent devotee of Krishna, Sai Krishna, what you say. She loves the form of Krishna. And she was thinking, Krishna, tomorrow is Krishnastami. What can I offer you, Kanaya, other than myself? I have nothing, I own myself. I can surrender myself. And she cried and cried. Her only sadhana is to cry for God. Like Ramakrishna Paramhamsa, she used to cry. We all saw her crying for God, not for worldly things. She used to cry and she used to enjoy that tears of devotion, as was told in Narada Bhakti Sutras, a bhakta will shed tears in the joy at the thinking of God. So she had a divine darshan, she saw herself wearing white clothes, churning curd, and little Krishna appeared in front of her, and he took butter from her and he ate it. And what a divine darshan she had, and the total bliss while she was explaining, and I am most privileged to hear all these her experiences, these divine experiences first hand, because I was more, I don't know, but very closely I was following, and I just followed her. And one day, Swami, she was thinking of the Gopika Bhakti narrated in Tirupavai, and while reading that, Gopikas worshipped him like that, and she was just praying Swami. And in her dream, Swami came like 3-year-old boy with a knicker and shirt, wearing a knicker and shirt. He came and sat in Amma's lap. She cuddled him and Swami, Kanaya, you sat in my lap. Why are you wearing this clothes? You have, where are all your ornaments? Where is your pincham, sikpincham? Where are your avaranas? Where are your pattu, pitambra, silk ropes and all? You have come in this. Then what he said, as in Krishna Avatar, I did all this, I wore everything, This, in this avatar, as I took birth in a very poor family. Maybe it is Ratnakara Vamsam, but it's a poor family. So I have come like this. Then Amma got into a different world. She was thinking, Swami took this poor poverty, poor life, to set an example to people. And he used to keep, Swami told many times, he used to fix thorns for his, instead of buttons. He was so poor, he didn't even have any buttons. He's the emperor of emperors, Kali Yuga avatar, Chakravarti. But, he took he led such a life. What would have happened when he was putting the thorn, if it hurt Swami's little finger, blood would have come. And with that visualization of things, she cried like anything. And that was the deep devotion she had. Why I am giving all these examples? See, this karma, bhakti, jnana, all the yogas are not separate. In sadhana, like a sweet Swami says, Mysore Pak will have all dimensions, but the whole sweetness is the same. In any sweet, content will be the same, no? Like that, these margas are not separate. You can choose any marga. If you do the karmas with the pure heart, selfless service, nishkama seva, it gives the chitta suddhi, purity of heart. In the purity of heart, divine devotion will arise. Bhakti yoga, it leads to bhakti yoga. And ultimately, you will have the wisdom that myself and God is not separate. God is in me, I am in God. We are not separate. To realize that self is the Atma Jnana. Atma Jnana means, Atma Sakshatkara means not a object coming in front of our eyes and we see that externally. It's not like that. That whole Advaita path, I'm trying to tell how Amma went through this, how she did her sadhana. And like this, all beautiful things she wrote. And she wrote a book named Advaitamrita Varshini. She named that book in 2000 year. There is one temple at Ontimetta, Kadapa. There is one Kodandarama Swami temple. There, where Potana wrote his epic Bhagavatam, there she named her Advaitamrita Varshini. And this is the book she wrote. I don't know if it's clear or not how to show. Advaitamrita Varshini, she wrote it. Lakshmi, it's coming reverse. Okay, I'll show later. And one day she was asking Swami, I am crying for you day and night. Are you at least listening to me? Na vedana nidaka ustonda. Are you feeling my pain? Then she had a vision, you know, what time is over.
Yeah, it's fine. You can share the current experience.
Yeah, please go ahead.
One elephant she saw, it was moving its ears, big ears like this. Then Swami said, you said, are you hearing? Then with these big ears, I am hearing you. See how beautiful these divine spiritual experiences. One day she has seen a cow lying on its back and reversely lying down on the floor. That Swami told what's the meaning. Cow is the symbol of Veda Mata, where you cannot extract, you cannot take the milk, you know, when the cow is up and down, you know, you can't take the milk from under. Like that, you in negative or crooked paths, you cannot learn this Vedanta. These things you cannot learn. And one day she has seen herself drinking milk directly from the udder of a cow, and she took mouthful of milk, and with that milk only she is doing Abhisheka to Swami. She was wondering, what is this I am doing? Then Swami said that straight away drinking milk from the cow udder means you are taking the Upanishad Sahara in you, and with that words only, you are praising me, you are thinking of me, you are doing the Abhisheka with that Upanishad Sudha. That is the Gitamritam, and that is this thing, you know. Swami, like this. One day she saw one very big eagle covering Amma with her wings. She was lying down on the floor. And what Swami said, as if a bird hatches the egg until it comes out like that, I am hatching you in my hands. I'm preparing you like a jnana mani. I will bring out the wisdom, diamond of wisdom from you. He said, one day she saw a middle-aged lady with some old cloth saree wearing, and with some old bag she's holding, and somebody carrying umbrella on her. Then Swami said, you are traveling in my path under my direction. I am guarding you with that umbrella. I am taking every care of you. I hope you are able to understand what sort of deep meanings in simple wisdom Swami told her. And he took her to and one day she asked, Swami, everybody says Samadhi, Dhyanam and all. How do I go to that Samadhi state? What is this Dhyana and all? Swami said, seeing everything, equanimity, equilibrium, all these things are Samadhi. To see equally is the Samadhi state. Not that closing eyes and sitting for some time. Thinking of God alone is the Dhyana, nothing else, he said. And he gave so many wonderful meanings for small visions, you know. And more step in 2004, still, again, she never stopped her praying for this robe. In physical world, she's a lady. She has to wear something, no. So she used to wear these things, And in 2004, one Krishnashtami day, Swami said, I told you the universal consciousness is the Vastram for you. Now I have taken you to another level. Vastram means light of wisdom. He said, Jnana Prakasham. I hope you understand. Light of wisdom. This Jnana Vastram, this robe, it never gets faded. It will never become dirty. That affluence of the robe will never reduce. It never gets torn. No need to stitch it. It never perishes, nor it is stolen by anybody. This special divine robe is not woven by any ordinary weaver. See these words, composition of words. She didn't cook up or she didn't write on her own. She's not a poet or anything. Whatever Swami conveyed through inner voice only, no single alphabet is changed what Swami told her. Only what I did is I just kept them in a chronological order. Coming to this Vastram, Swami said, this special divine robe is not woven by any ordinary weaver. God himself became the weaver to weave this with threads of divine effulgence out of his infinite love. Nobody can purchase this with money. And the final conclusion, what Swami said, the price of this divine robe is Vairagya. Only with Vairagyam, with pure detachment, you can deserve this robe. So he said, Jnana Prakasham is the Vastram. And one day he saw a forest, all these bushes, leaves and all. And she saw two people with Girijans, Koya people, looks like, wearing bows and arrows. She looked 2 persons. And it is all looking like trash. What is this? All this and that. Swami said, that is not trash. That is the forest where Rama and Lakshmana were walking in that. He gave the divine darshan of Rama Lakshmana. And Swami said, one Swami, I have the faith. I believe in you will give me the robe, like that she was telling. I don't leave this path, whatever come what may. Then Swami said, hereafter, do not say, I am with faith, I am with belief. Do not make these separate from you. I am not separate from you. We are not separate. Faith, belief, you and me, all are one. And one day Amma said, Swami, I'll go somewhere else in Puttaparthi. I'm staying here. She stayed in that 6 feet room for 10 years from 84 to 88 to 99. She lived in that room. And every time she used to go to Prasanthi Nilayam, visit Swami and come back and doing her sadhana. And from 1999, she started staying in Prasanthi Nilayam, just near that East Gopuram Road. There she used to stay. And till her last day, she lived there only. I mean to say 18th September, till such time she was there only. And she was doing this, one day out of frustration, she said, Swami, what I have to do living it in this Prasanthi Nilayam, in this room, cooking and eating, this is not the purpose of my life. Where shall I run away from this place? Where should I get? Shall I go and do Tirtha Yatra? Swami said, no need of any yatras. You are with full devotion in me. How can you be without relationship with this world? Swami said, you had the divine experience of seeing the all-pervading Brahman in the entire universe. Having such experience, how can you be away from this world? The world is the manifestation of God. Be in this world and do not get bonded to it. When you do not have either attachment or detachment, ragam, dvesham, love towards somebody or hatred somebody, if you don't have all these jewels, dvandvalu, this world can't paint you anymore. Stay here only. Like that, he said. And later on, she penned on all these experiences, and that manuscript was given to Sri V.S.R. Murthy, the spiritual scientist. And when he read the book, he felt this book can be printed. It will be useful for sadhakas, because this is the new path of spirituality and a new way of reaching God, while being in domestic life. And so this book got printed in 2010. And on Ladies' Day, 19th November 2010, Swami with his own hands released this book, and it was given. But Swami tested again. The book was not kept in stall. After that, in 2011, Swami left physically, but she didn't lose her faith. She just stayed calm and composed. Her utmost confidence and unshakable faith in Swami helped her to stay calm and composed even after Swami leaving this world physically. She tried herself, she gathered all her strength, and somehow, it was presented again in the trust, and trust people agreed to keep this in their stall. And in 2018, these books were kept in Swami's bookstall. And Swami told her, I made you to do different sadhanas. Out of these, which I transferred you to as true sannyasi. Vastram was not given to you until you deserve it. Your devotion towards Guru is boundless, infinite. You could withstand the tests I gave. You trusted me. You enjoyed my proximity, and you could see me everywhere. In whatever form I came, you could recognize it. And you, as Gopika, you enjoyed all the proximity, darsana, sparsana, sambhashanalu. You enjoyed a lot in that birth. This birth you have taken to go to this Nirguna Bhakti and Advaita Marga. I think her life is made an example of traveling in Advaita Marga. What Lord Adi Shankaracharya preached you, and this is not to be mistaken, that if we say God and we are same, this is only spiritually, not bodily. Advaita only bhava paranga matrame, not saririkanga. Bodily, namely, we are all different people. And so one day, I will conclude with 2-3 paras more. Just please. One day, before her 70th birthday, she prayed to Swami, Swami, I'm becoming old. I have become 70 years old. Please talk to me or end my life story, she asked. Then what Swami said, a writer writes a novel. If a reader is in a hurry to know the end, writer cannot finish this writing novel. He knows how, when to end the story. Wait for the end of your story and see how yenta adbhutanga nee jeevita charitra mugistano chudu. How beautifully it ends, please wait and see, he said. So then she started waiting for that. And on September 9th, she had a vision that one lady wearing pink saree leaving from her body And Swami told her, that is you only, you got merged in me. This happened in Puttaparthi on September 9th, 2021. Later on, within 10 days, she fell sick and she came back to Hyderabad. She was brought here, and even last day, she cooked for herself, she washed her clothes, she did every work and came. She was admitted for 5 days in hospital. And the last sentence she wrote in her diary is, Chitikedu matti, a pinch of mud. A pinch of mud. That shows the entire meaning. That is the end of the life. A person comes into that world and again he goes into that mud again, earth, Mother Earth, like that, So on 26th September, her position has become little critical. Unexpectedly, she started vomiting blood. And when oxygen mask was kept, she just removed it and said, I'm going to my Swami. Don't stop me. None should stop me going. Nenu na Swami దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళిపోతున్నాను, నన్ను ఎవరు ఆపకండి. And I was shouting, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram. My brother was always worried. What would he is of 71 years old now? And he was so much worried. Amma is alone there. What would happen if she falls sick or something happens to her? Always used to have that worry. To remove that worry and all, to give satisfaction to all of us, Swami made her to come to Hyderabad. And we 3 sisters, one sister was stayed back in America due to some personal delivery work and all. And my elder sister, myself holding one left side hand and leg, and my brother and younger sister holding the right hand and right leg. And Amma said, నేను స్వామి దగ్గరికి వెళ్ళిపోతున్నాను, నన్ను ఎవరో ఆపకండి. Then I said, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, say Sai Ram. She just laughed, that I can never forget in my life. చాలా చిత్రంగా నవ్వింది. Still you believe that I am separate from Swami? There is no difference between me and Swami. She communicated with her, that small smile, and said aloud, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. That's the end of her story. And very beautifully Swami gave end, this is how we have to chant the name of Lord and start our journey to merge with the divine feet. I'm sorry if I exceeded time, and I'm very, very grateful to be given this opportunity to talk about a mother on Mother's Day, Easwaramma Day. Thank you, Swami. Thank you, Cancer Center. And my humble pranam, Chetakoti pranam at the divine feet of our beloved Swami. Thank you, one and all. I hope I could communicate at least something to you people. If anybody feel it is helpful, my mother's soul will be happy. Thank you. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, yes, thank you so much, Nagamani Auntie. It was a truly amazing experience sharing. So on behalf of the Kansas Sai Center, we would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing such divine glimpses of Swami's divinity. Next, we'll be having Brother KJ Srinivas sharing his experiences. Brother KJ Srinivas hails from Visakhapatnam, India. He joined Sri Satsang Institute of Higher Learning for Shanti Nilayam campus for his MBA in finance in 2013. Subsequently, he enrolled himself for the doctoral program in the year 2016. He is part of the Prashanti Mandir Bhajan group, Prashanti Mandir Vedam group, and he also is my mother's cousin's son. So it is great to finally have him here. So now I'd like to hand over the mic to Brother KJ Srinivas. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. I hope I'm audible to you all.
Yes, we can hear you, Srinivas.
Yes. Offering myself at the divine lotus feet, a very loving Sai Ram to one and all. At the outset, I'm very grateful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share some of my experiences with Divine Mother on this occasion of Easwaramma Day. For me in India, it is over. It was yesterday. But for you it is still going on. So yes, we are celebrating Easwaramma Day even today, as per my date and calendar. I really feel proud and lucky to be in Prashant Nilayam and witness Holy Easwaramma Day for last few years. Now, why I say that I feel proud and lucky and blessed also to be here in Prashant Nilayam and witness is that it is really nice to see how year after year, we are continuing the tradition of offering our gratitude and prayers to Mother Easwaramma, because of whom, as a student, I am existing in Parthi, and because of whom there are millions who have benefited. On this very day, that is 6th May 1972, Mother Easwaramma, in the early hours, at around 7:32, she merged in Mother Sai. Till recall, as told by some of the elders and senior devotees in Prashant Nilayam, it was during that day she finished her daily course of activities, and at around 7:30, she was resting, and suddenly she called. It was, I think, during summer course. She suddenly called Swami, Swami, and Swami came down with a silk sari in her hand. Yeah, coming, coming, and that marked the end of her earthly journey. Swami came down and just saw Easwaramma Garu and told, she has attained what she was supposed to. She has merged in me, and she draped her with a silk sari. And from then onwards, every year on 6th May, Swami used to come to Easwaramma Samadhi. He used to offer sari, he used to do Narayan Seva, and so on. So with all these external activities going on, what is that lesson which we have to learn? What is that which Swami actually showed us? In my understanding, since 2012, 2013, I've been seeing this activities happening. So I felt that Swami is setting as an example that we should be grateful and we should show our gratitude to our parents, specifically to mother. As the earlier previous speaker told, it is mother who acts as guru to us. She is the one who leads us to everybody else. In Shikshavali, it is said, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, and Atiti Devo Bhava. So if you see the sequence, it is mother who will show us that that person is your father. Father will take us to a teacher, and teacher shows us the entire world, if I can say so. So we have to be grateful. We have to show our gratitude to our parents, and specifically mother. Swami has given so much of importance to mother and motherly feelings. Maybe I feel that Swami is a little more biased and inclined towards mother because he himself is divine mother of all. We say that his love is beyond understanding, thousand mothers love, and so on. But in all these things, if we see, it is essentially, in my understanding, I'm repeating, is that to show gratitude and to be grateful towards our parents. Now, having said so, let us remember Mother Easwaramma on this day. The entire purpose of celebrating this occasion of Mother Easwaramma's merging into Swami is to just remember her, some of the characteristics, some of the qualities which she possessed. To me, when I read about some articles about Easwaramma, or the books like the Easwaramma, the Chosen Mother, or some of the experiences shared by Pedabottu Garu in her book Pedabottu, we'll see that Mother Easwaramma was very innocent. She had a great thought power, and she was very determined. Recently, Radio Sai, Sri Satsang Media Center, had released a video on just 2 days back, wherein experiences of Rani Java Garu was being shared. She was so Java family is the family where Swami had entrusted the responsibility of Mother Easwaramma to be taken care of when Swami visited South Africa. So initially, Mother Easwaramma was very scared. She was very hesitant to allow Swami go to South Africa, because she thought and she heard that if Swami goes there, those people will keep Swami there and Swami will never return back. She was so scared. She was not at all willing, and she was very reluctant in sending Swami to South Africa, but somehow Swami was successful in telling her that he will come back to India and there is no reason for her to worry. And in fact, he will call Mother Easwaramma every day. So with this pretext, he left to South Africa and entrusted the responsibility of Mother Easwaramma to Java family in Mumbai. So now this Java family, Mr. Java had 4 daughters and 1 son. Now Rani Java was the, I think, youngest of all the siblings. And she was sharing that every day she will share a very great bond with Mother Easwaramma. And every day she will go to college. And when she come back, Swami used to call and she used to answer the call. She used to speak to Swami and then give a phone to Mother Easwaramma. So Mother Easwaramma used to see all this and she used to feel that how independent and how lucky these 4 girls were, because they were going to college every day. During those time, back in 1960s and 70s, these girls, young girls used to go to college, study, get education, and she was greatly inspired. So that's how the trend continued for some days. And when Swami came back, while returning from airport to the residence, Mother Easwaramma was accompanying Swami, and one of the things which she asked is, Swami, I need a promise from you. And Swami said, what is that? Tell me. So she said that, Swami, see, I see here girls are very educated, they are very independent, they do not depend on anybody. They do their work on their own and they're very nice. But in Puttaparthi, I see that women only cook and wash utensils. So please build a college for girls there. I want them to get educated and to be independent. Swami said, okay, done. Immediately in the car, he directed Mr. Java, who was driving, Java, go to Anantapur, find a suitable land, we'll build a college within a month's time. Mr. Java had no clue as to what is the city all about, how the Anantapur is, nothing, no idea. But he said, okay, with a firm faith and conviction that when God says something, it will happen. We are just mere instruments and we need not feel anything proud of. So he went to Anantapur, did all the homework and found a beautiful land on which today stands Sri Satsang Institute of Higher Learning Anantapur campus. And through that college, God alone knows how many people have benefited directly and indirectly. Directly, so many hundreds of students have benefited and got education. Indirectly, so many lives have been inspired and transformed. Now see, we here understand that a thought, a prayer, which culminates in benefit of all, which not only restricts in praying for an individual, but a prayer which includes everyone, so many people. It's a greater good for the society. God just takes care of, accepting that prayer in no time. That's where we see how powerful was the thought of Easwaramma. Similarly, we also know Swami has told in many discourses that it is because of Mother Easwaramma's request he built hospital. Today, that small hospital, that is General Hospital of Puttaparthi back in 1950s and 60s, has turned out to be a big super specialty hospital. And not only that, so many Sai centers, those lot of medical services, it is all inspired somewhere with that small thought. Similarly, the water projects is all because Mother Easwaramma felt that people are thirsty and to quench their thirst, we should do something. And Swami, based on her request, created a water project. So we here understand how Mother Easwaramma was so selfless in her prayers, directly or indirectly, whether knowingly or unknowingly, with some innocence, she prayed. And with that innocent prayer, Swami made a big change in the society. Similarly, there are so many other experiences also. One small funny experience of Mother Easwaramma, again, incident I would like to share here, which again, recently in one of the Satsang episodes of Radio Sai we heard, is that when just before or a few years before Swami's 50th birthday, in some occasions, Swami told, see, there will be a time when I will be giving darshan in the sky and you'll all see. Then Mother Easwaramma got very scared. She told him, and she was a very rural household. She went to Anantapur by creating some work so that she can meet Subhamagaru there. And she said, Mama, what is he telling? What is Swami telling? He will give darshan roaming around on the sky. He will fly in the sky. What if he falls down? He will injure himself. So please let us go to Swami and tell him strongly that he is not allowed to do all such things. So then Uma was like, she was astonished. So don't worry, Swami has taken this Adli John, so he will not have any problem. No, no, not like that. God is there. He is having godly aspects, but we never know because he has taken the form of human being. What if something happens? While giving darshan, he slips and falls from the sky, mean he'll injure. So she couldn't say anything. They went to Swami and they pleaded Swami, Swami, please don't do all these things. And Swami heard her and said, no, no, don't worry, don't worry. In the due course of time, you will see everything. Just be. In 1975, on the occasion of 50th birthday of Bhagwan, I'm sure many of you would have seen the videos where Swami was giving darshan through helicopter. For all the proceedings of birthday, he came in a helicopter, landed in Prashant Nilayam, and that's where we see that Swami did give his darshan through a helicopter in the sky. So there are so many such incidences where we find that the innocence of Mother Easwaramma was one of the most celebrated characteristics and most loved characteristic by Bhagwan. Each time Easwaramma used to go with such prayer, Swami used to laugh, and as a divine mother, he used to console her, don't worry, don't worry. Similarly, Easwaramma Garu was so much into serving others that during the darshans, that time it was told that there was only sands and there was no Kulwant hall like today. So in the evenings, she will walk in the sands and she will also ask each devotee, how are you? Everything is fine or not? And if somebody has some problem and she will notice that proper attention or whatever you call it, proper attention was not given by Swami or they were not able to reach the Swami, she used to go and tell Mother Sai that, see, they're having this problem, you must solve it. Sometimes Swami used to be a little reluctant, but then Mother Easwaramma was also very persisting and she said that, no, you have to take care of this. And that's how hundreds of devotees, in fact, thousands of devotees benefited out of her divine love towards the devotees and yes, divine love towards Mother Sai. Now, with all these things, some of the experiences that I shared, sometimes I think if this is the love of Mother of a God, then what it be to experience the divine love of Mother Sai. Now, I'm really fortunate to experience motherly love of Mother Sai in various aspects. Now, one such beautiful avenue through which I experienced love of Bhagwan is through Sri Satya Sai Hostel for Senior Students. Now, for the last 10 plus years, we know that Swami is not available to us physically, but that does not restrict his flow of love towards his devotees or towards his students. There were many apprehensions as to how things will happen, but I must tell you that the students who are there in the educational institutions, especially in the institute or schools, will say that how they receive love even today in various forms. Yes, we might not have got the physical proximity as people got 3-4 decades back, but in various aspects we are still receiving. It is said that when you are a baby, mother is a caretaker, and when you grow up, she becomes a teacher. When you grow up as an adult, she becomes a friend, and when you finally become a man, she becomes an observer, and thus throughout our lives, she remains as a god. Similar is the case with all the students in the educational institutions, especially in the hostel over here. So when we join here, she is very careful. She is very caring towards us, Mother Sai. I would like to narrate what some of the experiences which are really very dear to me. It was in the year 2014 March. For some reasons, I was not having food properly, and I used to feel that what is the purpose of having food and all. I had no specific reason, but I was not feeling like having food properly. And being in the hostel, I used to feel, who is going to see me? Anyway, my parents are back at home. They're not going to see me, so I need not actually worry about anything. I can be on my own. And I literally had the feeling that nobody is around me, watching over me. See, that's how Swami also puts us into Maya. I came here with full conviction that Bhagwan is with me, he is taking care of me. And before this experience, Swami also showed his omnipresence. He told how he and Samadhi are one and there is no difference between both. But during during a course of time, I forgot all these things. And Swami put me in the delusion that nobody is watching over me and I can do whatever I like. So gradually I stopped eating. I used to have very less food for some reason. So one such day, one of my senior brothers who was sitting next to me, he asked me, Srinivas, why are you eating so less? I told, just like that, no reason. I don't feel like eating. He said, no, you should eat. I said, no, I don't feel like eating, and that's all. It is enough for me. That's all. The conversation ended there. I went back to my room and I was doing my work. Next day, early in the morning, I had a dream wherein Swami was present. So in our hostel, in the entrance, there is a lobby where there is a reception desk and there is a small chair. So Swami was sitting in that chair in a white robe. And I was next to one of the students. He was with a tray of dry fruits. Usually the practice is a birthday boy will get a chance to offer some dry fruits, akshatas, vibhuti to Swami. Swami will bless the tray, put akshatas on us, and bless the tray of dry fruits, and we will keep it for us, for ourselves as prasadam. So he was standing with a tray of dry fruits, vibhuti, everything, akshatas. Swami took some of those, he created something, vibhuti, and blessed him, and he kept something aside. So that boy's turn got over, and next turn was mine. I was standing, and I was just staring at Swami. Then Swami was also looking at me, and suddenly asked me, Yemi, etla now, how are you? I said, Swami, I'm fine. Swami asked me, really? Are you fine? I said, Swami, yes, I'm fine. Then he said, he did like that. Then I told, okay, I had no other thing to say. Then I asked Swami, Meeretla unnaru, how are you? Swami said, Bane unnanu. Like, okay. So again, there was a pause, silence. I didn't know what to do. Then I told Swami, Amma cheptundi, like mother says, that there's a difference between I'm okay and I'm fine. To translate that in Telugu, I told Amma cheptundi, Bane unnanu ki bagunnanu ki teda undi Swami. Then Swami became very active. Correct. Swami eppudu baguntaru. He did this way 3 times. He said, Swami ellappudu baguntaru. Ardhamainda? Yes, Swami. He said that Swami will always be fine. And he continued saying that, see, in this hostel, you should eat properly and you should be proper. That in hostel baga tinala, baga undala. Ardhamainda? Like that, he continued for 3 times. So that time I understood that Swami is watching over me, and at no point of time I can take it for granted that I am alone just because I don't find anybody seeing me. That's where I understood that how caring Swami is. He won't leave you just because you don't see him. We never know in what form, in what way he is behind you. He is with you, guiding you, guarding you, and always protecting you. Similarly, there is one more experience of one of the brothers who graduated recently from Sri Satsang Institute of Higher Learning. So he joined here for his music course. And every Dashara, we get a chance to offer our prayers, collective prayers. Students take up this humongous task of performing Devi Saptasati Parayanam as part of our 7-day proceedings of Veda Purusha Saptaha Jnana Yajnam. So in Purnachandra Auditorium during Dashara, we have this Yajnam. And at that point of time, we all students take up this activity of doing Devi Parayanam. That is, we chant 700 verses of Durga Saptasati, that is Durga Devi Mahatyam, wherein how mother slays various asuras is mentioned. So it's a very ritualistic process. Boys get up early in the morning by 2:30, 3 o'clock. They get ready. They reach Purnachandra Auditorium by 4 o'clock, and they start doing that Parayanam. It takes at least 3 to 4 hours for everyone to finish that Parayanam. So in such during one of such years back in 2018, this boy was belonging to West Bengal. He was from Kolkata. He was very devoted to Mother Kali. He back at home also used to Devi Parayanam. And when he came here, he found this venue, and he also joined to offer his prayers during Navaratri celebrations. But towards the end, he felt whatever prayers we are making, is it reaching to Swami? Is Swami really listening to us? What is the point? If it is reaching, what way it is reaching? Can Swami show us some indication? So he continued his Parayanam. Towards the end, on the Purnahuti day, finished his Parayanam. After finishing Parayanam, we are supposed to go back to hostel, have our food, breakfast, come back to Purnachandra auditorium to witness the Purnahuti proceedings, which happens usually at around 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So he finished his Parayanam, went into the students' block in Purnachandra auditorium and sat there. As a Mangalarti started, he saw Bhagavan near the throne, not only as the way he appears, he was with all his magnificent 8 hands, Ashtabhujangi, we say, right? So like Mother Durga, with all 8 hands, he was seen to him. And for a moment, he could not believe whether it is true or some kind of hallucination he's having. He just stared entire Mangala Arti time. He could see only Swami with all his magnificent form of Mother Durga. And towards the end, when Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu was being chanted, Swami raised his Abhayahasta and blessed everyone present in the Purnachandra auditorium. That's where he came back immediately and shared this experience with me and said that whether I thought Swami is not listening to us, in other words, he was having some kind of doubts, and with sincere prayer, he could see Mother Swami in mother form. So here we understand how Swami shows his love in various ways, his motherly love in various ways, and we need not be apprehensive of anything. The only thing which we need is to be sincere and earnest in our prayers. If we do so, then Swami certainly answers our prayers. At the same time, there are times when we find that how much ever sincerely we pray, Swami keeps his silence intact. He will not even respond at all. He'll be so strict as a father, because sometimes we see mothers are very soft. They give what we desire immediately. At the same time, there are fathers in every house who will be very strict, who will not give what you desire, because they know what is good and for you and what need not be given to you at that particular time, because they don't feel the necessity there, or maybe they feel that you should grow up a little bit more. That's where we find that sometimes even if we pray, Swami doesn't respond to us. And here I'm reminded of one of the experiences of Dinah Baskin, where in her book which she wrote, for Divine Memories with Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba, she says that for some time, for some months, Swami was not looking at her in the darshan lines, and every time she will be looking at Swami, he will just go around, but he will not come to Mrs. Dinah Baskin. So after a long time, after a lot of prayers, and finally Swami came and spoke to her. She says, "Why did you not speak to me for all these days?" And Swami said, "See, the road was under construction. So when the road is under construction, so you have to take diversion. That's what I was doing. So you were under construction, you were under repair. So I had to divert myself. Now the road is ready, and hence I have come." Similarly, we have to wait with all patience and faith. Yes, it is sometimes irritating. It is sometimes very, very disheartening that why is Swami not responding? But with all these things, we should never forget that his delays are not denials. If for some reason Swami is not talking to us, is not responding to our prayers the way we want, doesn't mean that Swami does not have any plan for us. He is not with us. Like this, there are so many instances in my life also. One such incident is back in 2015 when I was in my second postgraduate year as part of my MBA program. I had taken part in so many events. I won good name and awards there in cultural activities, extracurricular activities. But towards the end, I still remember March 24th was the last working day of the semester and for the MBA program that year, in the year 2016, March 24, 2016. I had a strange thought in my mind while having breakfast early in the morning at around 7:30. That Swami, I could get a good name in all aspects in your institution, but somehow, probably I did not live up to your expectations academically. Now, this thought was there. I had no other thing, but this thought came because there was an announcement made that every year, every semester, all the students are actually appreciated and given some award if they improve academically or if they stand out to be first in their class. So there's something called top academic performer and top academic improvement. So these are two awards given to select students every semester. So that announcement was made and told the list of awardees are there on the notice board. All the students are required to go there and see. Those who are shortlisted should be seated in the front row of the auditorium where we have our prayers. So after the prayer, the awards will be issued. So I was thinking, anyway, my name will not be there. Like, so I was feeling a little bad that academically I could not get a good name for both my parents and for Swami. But still, with a small hope, I went and saw in the list. I did not see my name anywhere. So I thought, okay, anyway, as expected, there's nothing. So I went to prayer hall and I was sitting in the last row of the auditorium, literally last row. The names were started to be called out, and suddenly there was one announcement made that there was a previous day, there was a match, cricket match, and drawing some parallel to that, the speaker that day, he announced that for this award, we have got two people who are getting this award. One is my friend, another one was, they suddenly announced my name in the category of top academic improvement. For a moment, I could not believe whether it is really my name or somebody else's. They again they announced my name, and next to me, my friend was sitting. He just gave a tight slap behind my head and said, "Go! They are calling your name. What are you sitting here?" So I could not believe, and I went and I collected the award. Literally, I was in tears. That what is this? I didn't even see my name, and how suddenly it appeared. And there also, everybody was given one kind of gift. They were given a mug, but I got a book. I thought, okay, fine, some book I got, and I opened, and I found this very beautiful book of Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, Play It My Way. Just 3 days back, I was just going through the book list on Flipkart that time, and I thought I'll buy this book because I wanted to read that. But then I thought, okay, I should not waste money. Let us see later. Sometime I'll buy. And that day I got that book. So these, when I connect back, I felt that how Swami not only listen to your prayers, but he knows each and every thought of yours. The thought of desiring him, to be with him, to do something for him. And also when we include our thoughts in such, when we frame our thoughts in such a way that especially we take care of our parents, we want to be grateful to our parents. Swami certainly takes care of that. That day, I found it was so overwhelming for me. I just held the book whole day and I kept it close to my heart. I felt so happy, so loving through Mother Sai that he takes care of everything. And sometimes I feel, do we really need to ask? But yet again, we are in this cycle wherein we ask, we get, again we tend to ask. As Swami says, he allows us to ask whatever we desire so that one day we ask him what he desires from us. So there are so many such experiences, so many such events wherein I felt the love of Mother Sai in various forms, especially when you are in the hostel. As I said, each day is an experience. Each day you find that Swami shows his love to some or other form. But out of all, is it only enough for us to receive the love? I think there is much more to it. We definitely require some amount of love, but at the end of the day, we should be also able to give something back for whatever we are receiving. One of the beautiful things which our teachers here told us or tell us that, see, we have all received Swami's love. At least I have the good fortune to see Bhagwan in his physical form. We have received his love in some other form, but the current generation or the current set of devotees who might not get the chance to see Bhagwan in physical form or might not know also what is it in the future, it is on to us as to how we design ourselves, frame ourselves to see that we fit into the expectations of Bhagwan. That's where we were told in the hostel that whatever you have received, give that. The love which you have received can only be multiplied by giving. It cannot be stored and kept in a container, in a store, think that I have received it, I'll keep it. Then it is bound to decompose, if I can use the word. So in order to multiply the love, the learning, the knowledge, whatever we are gaining from various aspects of Swami, we can multiply it through sharing, through putting them into practice. There are so many times in our day-to-day activities where we find that students know a lot of things wherein we get irritated. But at the same time, we have to understand how Swami was. Even today, he corrects us without any hesitation, without getting irritated. If really we were to be seen through Swami's eyes, sometimes I wonder if it was me, I probably would have given up. That's where we have to understand that we have to put Swami's teachings into practice. On first day, we'll definitely not get 100% results. It starts slowly. One every day, small amount we have to contribute and see that we put into practice whatever we have learned by being under Swami's divine guidance. It is nice to be with Swami, but it is also much more responsibility to us that we carry Swami with us wherever we are, whatever we do. I think that's how we inculcate or we carry Swami with us, because Swami is certainly, as previous speaker told, that Swami is certainly cannot be restricted to any form, name, or something. Her mother's experiences were really so nice that we understood that we have to improve ourselves. We have to see that how with each experience we grow. Right? One day or other, we have to understand that all are one. There is no distinction. In Dharmavahini, Swami says the definition of dharma is anything which is done with body consciousness is adharmic. So in that context, whatever we do today is adharmic, right? Because whatever we are doing, be it this talk or anything, it is with a body consciousness. So how do we escalate? Slowly, we have to understand that everybody is one. The first step in that is to not become judgmental and to accept things as they are. The first and foremost step in the spiritual practice that we do not judge. Yes, we have to take decisions for which we need to judge. But when we say we should not be judgmental, we should not carry the impressions throughout our lives. There could be one person who have done some mistake. Okay, we grow with our mistakes. We have done that mistake. How can we improve from that mistake? And how can we go forward? That is something which I think we all must learn. Especially it is very much applicable to younger generation and younger people like us, because we have got life in our in front of us, and we will be getting into work. We'll be doing so many things, be it in the organizations or outside the organizations. Let so many things happen around us. We should not get bothered by that. We have to understand that Swami creates all this aprashanti around us so that we derive prashanti. Even in Prashantilayam, one of the senior devotees, when he asked Swami, we have come here to settle down and I find so much of noise around here. There is no prashanti at all. What is this? And Swami told, see, you tell me where you get prashanti in Prashantilayam. I myself will go and break that. It is up to you to create prashanti for yourself. I'll give you a job, house, name, fame, everything. But the prashanti, you have to find for yourself. You have to work. For that, there are various ways. You can do service, you can do dhyana, japa, bhajan, whatever. Find your way and see how you can attain that. That's where I feel that all the situations around us are created by Bhagwan. Apparently, it may look as it is created by some individuals, but we should not get bothered by that. We should focus on what we are supposed to. Our center of point always should be Bhagwan. And once we keep Swami in our center, I think many things get resolved. And that's how I feel one of the ways to show gratitude towards him, because Swami is bearing with us, with all our defects, with all our inhibitions, all kind of impurities in us. When Swami could take all that, who are we after all? We are a small speck out of him. We should also possess those qualities. If we do not possess, we should we should start developing it from right now. Yesterday, I was just reading one of the discourses, listening to one of the discourses, wherein Swami was asking how a goldsmith knows that the metal which is put under fire or is actually the gold is actually has become pure. We keep heating that, he melts. But when is that actually goldsmith really understand that now the gold is pure? When he is able to see his image in that melted metal, that is when the gold has become pure. So taking that lesson, I think Swami puts us through so many challenges. Swami puts us through so many turbulences, troubles, just to see that we get rid of the impurities. And the day he sees his image, he will just grant all our wishes. And he is not that kind of person where he will always want to see. Even a small incidents where he sees, he gets satisfied. He doesn't need big things. He needs small things, gentle things. Because mothers are like that. In Shirdi Baba's Satcharitra also, we find that mother's love is very unique. She will dress her child. She will be so overwhelmed that she only pinches the child and he starts crying, or he or she starts crying. Again, she will love. So we can never understand mother's love. We can never even come an inch closer to what kind of selflessness she possesses and what we get through her. That's where Swami aptly says that mother's prayers are very, very powerful than anybody else. A mother's prayer, so to say, is 1,000 times more powerful than anybody else, because her prayers are very selfless, pure, and they're only intended towards the development of her child. So I would like to conclude this talk by two things. One is one small takeaways by being with Swami is that unless we put into practice whatever we are learning, I think the purpose of our connection or the purpose of our coming to Swami is not served. And we should be always conscious enough to understand what we are doing, how we can orient ourselves towards Swami. Every decision we take, every act we do, we have to ask ourselves, by doing this, will my mother Sai be happy? Will Mother Sai be approving this? If I think we ask ourselves this question, I think half the problems will be solved, both at an individual level and at a higher level. I would now end the talk by presenting a small video, a small poem narrated by Swami as part of Padyam. I request just to please confirm whether you are able to see the screen and you are able to hear the audio.
Sure.
Just give me 1 minute.
Yeah, no worries.
Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Are you able to listen to the audio?
No,
Not yet.
not yet.
You are able to hear the audio now?
Yes. Yes.
Sanjajikan, Sanpandinatakan.
I hope the audio was clear.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So with this video, I would like to end my talk, and I once again thank the organizers and to Beloved Mother Sai to give me this opportunity to speak about Swami and reach our lives in many ways. I thank you once again. Sai Ram.
Srinivas, can you please render a bhajan for all of us?
Okay. गिरिधरिना श्याम गोपाल गिरिधरिना श्याम गोपाल नटवरलाल नंद गोपाल नटवरलाल नंद गोपाल मथुरा नाथा कृष्ण गोपाल मथुरा नाथा कृष्ण गोपाल श्री मधुसूदन मुरली गोपाल श्री मधुसूदन मुरली गोपाल यशोदा के बाल नंद गोपाल यशोदा के बाल नंद गोपाल ईश्वराम्ब सुत साई गोपाल ईश्वराम्ब सुत साई गोपाल गिरिधरिनाथ श्याम गोपाल. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you so much, Srinivas. Now we'd like to open up the
Question
floor
answer.
for a question and answer session. Sai Ram, so
Please,
please,
do you have any questions for Srinivas or Nagamani garu? Please feel free to, or you can give
Bro,
your
just
comments.
just, bro, thank you. Wonderful speech you have given for almost 40-45 minutes with a lot of information. How you covered the story of Easwaramma and eventually the lessons we have to learn in life. Like one of the striking point that I liked in this speech was the Dharma Vahani, what you have pointed out that whatever we do with body consciousness, it is not Dharma. So there is one thing and to take away point, and one more point you have importantly pointed out that we will have several challenges in the world because of course so in the world of competition definitely there will be conflict and it will affect our peace of mind. So how you have given a wonderful example of the gold being melted and converted into a jewel. So that's how we have to adapt, and how a spiritual aspirant has to convert into a necklace so that he can live in this world effortlessly, not being disturbed by all this. So the way you have explained is means spot on. It was a wonderful explanation, and definitely the video was also fantastic video you have shared, and it was also beautiful poem. Thank you, brother. And of course, we always wanted to complete a PhD in Swami's Institute. It was not possible for me that time, but all the best for your PhD. And finally, you'll be getting the gold medal, right, bro? So after your completion, yeah. So of course, your name will be there on the institute once it is there. So means even the next coming generation, when they see the list, they will see your contribution to the university, and thank you for being there, and all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sai Ram, Brother Srinivas, we echo what we echo just what Brother Srinivas told about you. So it was an awesome talk, and every time when we see Swami students, we really sometimes we feel so jealous of you very openly. That, oh, what a blessed soul they are, what kind of punya they have done in previous janma to be with the Lord himself, you know. So we really, really salute you, and we have a special respect for all the Swami students. You know, you are really, really blessed, Amma. Your parents are really blessed to have children like you. And that to be Swami students, it's really something unique. And we learn every time when we hear from every student, we learn a lot. So kindly continue that, and our sincere wishes for your PhD program. And Swami will be full with you, Kana. Saira.
Sairam, thank you very much.
Sairam, we are so moved by listening to the experiences, and every time this is something that I always wonder, whether the person is sharing his own experience or the people are listening to somebody else's experience. It's always Bhagwan who brings together all of us, and he brings that immense joy, in listening to his stories. However many times, however many people talk about Swami, we still want more and more. That is the only thing that we never say no, never say enough. So it is such a beautiful one. Thank you for making this day memorable. Thank you, Saira.
Yeah, Brother Srinivas, this is Shilpa, and you have such a calmness about you that it transmits over the phone to me. I think I need to know, how do you do this? Do you have practiced some kind of a thing? I mean, I know you are in great positive surroundings, but you were very inspiring. What do you tell us if somebody is really stressed out? How do you tell us to, because looking at you, I feel very calm.
Yes, please continue, ma'am.
So yeah, I just feel that you're very inspirational, and anything we can learn to calm ourselves, to become more. And I like the fact that we should actually be thinking everything is done for Swami, so that it stops us from getting stressed or getting whatever we are thinking. But any tips that you can give us how you manage things in your life would be very valuable.
Sure. Firstly, I may appear to be calm, but factually I am not. I do have a lot of things going around my in my mind. But yes, one thing which as I said, I always understand this way, that we plan. The very reason we have to look at the root cause of anything, the stress or any kind of issue. You have to see what is the root cause which is actually creating that stress in us. When we get into that root cause, we understand that somewhere we take up the ownership, thinking that we are the ones who are doing everything. And when we start taking that ownership onto ourselves, we get carried away by the expectations. And most of the times, as Swami very nicely says, that expectations leads to disappointments, Rabangaru. They're the words of Bhagwan. So we start expecting. If it comes true, well, we feel happy. It's a very for a short time. But if it is not, we know that how it leads up to. So the root cause of stress has to be found in any kind of situation. So when you ask me what do, actually I do nothing. Basically, I just try to be in a place or with people whom I know can give me positive energy with. Here, yes, one of the advantages of being in Parthi is we have mandir. That whatever it may be, end of the day, you go to mandir, sit there, calmly relax. You have some great problem, stress, you will start crying, and that's how it gets nullified. Otherwise, seeing at Swami's Divine Lotus speech, seeing Swami's photograph, Sannidhi, you know that, okay, end of the day, you come to a conclusion that, okay, Swami is going to take care of it, come what may. So there are various ways. But yes, when you are outside in the sense, physically away from Prashant Nilayam, you're not in Puttaparthi, and the ambience also is not so conducive in giving you these kind of inputs, how you can do is, essentially, you have to calm yourself. One thing which I really do every day is sit quietly for some time and not to think of anything, just be. These are the two words which I really follow. Just to be. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just to be. You did not have to think of anything. You did not have to do anything. Just to be. Just be calm. Because that alone will solve some problems. Anyway, we know that things are not happening. We are stressed out for the very reason that we see that things are not going as we want it to be. That means that we don't have any control over the situation. And what's the point of getting worried about? For example, my PhD alone, my work was done back in 2020 December. Since then, I'm waiting for the final defense to get over. There's some challenges in submitting my thesis. In between, some of the reviewers succumbed to COVID-19. Then there are some other issues. So I tried my level best. But then I understood very recently, a few months back, that, okay, it is Swami's will, so be it. Through this way, I'm able to be with Swami. My only desire is to be with Swami. Then what's the point of getting stressed out? But then to see how our mind plays tricks is, we think all these things. At the same time, again the stress will come. Again the thought will come. We'll get carried away with all these things. So we have to practice that each time such thought comes, we have to counter it with one positive thought. No, don't play tricks with me. Just be calm. You think that you're not able to take the stress anymore, just leave everything there. Go, sit, listen to Swami's discourse. Sometimes, frankly, when I am really irritated, I don't even listen to Swami's discourses, but there's nothing. I just go sit quietly. What helps me is just light a lamp or an incense stick. Just calm yourself. Just tell yourself, just be calm. Just be quiet. That's it. And that's how I practice. So
Beautiful, beautiful, very valuable. Thank you. What are you doing your PhD in? Sorry.
My PhD is in the field of management, rural development, wherein I'm looking at how we can augment income of rural households through alternative income generating strategies.
All the best. Thank you so much. You have a beautiful voice too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shobhanti, for asking that question. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Sairam Srinivas.
Sairam sir.
Bhavanama.
Bhavan sir. Surprising.
Very
Nice to see
happy
you.
to see you. Yeah. In Nagamani garu kuda Sairam. Unnarama? Very happy to see you, Srinivas. I'm very happy.
Yes, thank you. Actually, Srinivas is my cousin's son. He's so close to me. He's my nephew.
Oh, good. Swami has chosen both of you.
We are blessed.
Swami.
We are blessed today. I think Nagamani Garu will also echo with me that we are blessed that we got this opportunity to speak about Swami.
Yes. Very happy to hear. So, very good. Just I want to share one thing regarding your calmness and other things. See, during one of the summer courses, I did not shave for a couple of days. So Swami came and asked me, "Emaindra gaddam cheskoledu?" Swami asked me, "Why you are not clean and why you have not shaven?" Then I told Swami, "I am not well, Swami. Ontlo baale, Swami." Then Swami told, "Ontlo baale pote gaddaniki emaindra ani adigaru." He asked me, "If you are not well, why you can shave yourself? There's nothing wrong." Then he told one divine direction he has given. See, Bangaram, నువ్వు ఎప్పుడు కూడా the best possible పద్ధతిలో you should present yourself. See, స్వామికి జ్వరం ఉన్నా ఏమున్నా ఎలా ఉన్నా సరే స్వామి టైం ప్రకారం వస్తారు, స్పిక్ అండ్ స్పాన్. అసలు స్వామి we cannot pinpoint and say ఇక్కడ స్వామి పూర్తిగా తయారై రాలేదు అని మనం చెప్పలేము అన్నమాట. సో ఈ సెట్ నన్నే ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకోండిరా. సో మేబీ you are presenting yourself the best possible way which Swami likes. Maybe that is one of the reasons for your, maybe the pleasantness we receive from you. Sairam. Sairam.
It's absolutely true, Andy. What he said is 100% true. Every Swami student are like that, that humility in them, that is the topmost thing which we really admire. we have to learn a lot from them. Thank you, Sister Lakshmi, for arranging this beautiful event. And it is not like that today we heard and we'll be done with that, but it's good that you record so that anytime we want to go back and listen to it, it will be really beautiful to recollect everything and see where we are, how far we are progressed in our lives. So for that, we really profusely thank you as well as the two great speakers. Beautiful. Sairam. Swami bless them all. Sairam.
Sairam.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments for the guest speakers? Let's see, Sastri uncle. We'd like to hear your thoughts.
And we need your blessings also, uncle. Sastri uncle. Sairam and Sastri uncle, are you there? I think you have to unmute yourself.
I guess I actually have one question. So for Srinivas, so I mean, you shared a lot of your experiences from after you joined the Institute, but could you share one or two experiences of before you joined the Institute that you had like where
How
you
you
felt
got introduced to Swami? Your mother is your instructor, right?
Yes. Actually, she was the one who actually, in so many ways, directed me. Back in early 2000s, actually, I was not very, I didn't know about Swami anything, but we were very devoted to Shirdi Baba. We used to stay in Odisha. That time, when I used to get little jittery and feel little uncomfortable or feel hurt for anything in the school, I had the tendency to not speak much in school. People say that I was very sensitive that time. So whenever I used to feel bad for anything, I used to cry and I used to go to my mother. She was the one actually that time told, see, if you have any complaints, don't go and talk about these things to any person. She used to give me 2 rupees and she used to tell you, go to Shirdi Baba's Mandir, put these 2 rupees there and tell out all your problems to Baba. He will solve you. He will solve the problems. So that practice actually had continued for many, many years. Even today, I really get hurt with anybody. I just go to the altar. Now, I cannot drop any coin because we don't have any provision here. But then I go to the altar and I see Swami's photo and just tell everything out to him. So that's how she inculcated this habit that developed the bond with God, not with any human being. And second thing is that she used to make halwa to be offered to Shirdi Baba. And she used to tell, please go and give. That's how she inculcated the habit of Narayan Seva in me. That time, neither of us had any opportunity to go around and serve. But then, as to carry that hot taba of halwa on a cycle, and the road was not at all good. It was very, very bad in shape. But then somehow I used to manage, go to temple and give halwa there. And that's how she inculcated Narayan Seva habit in me. And with respect to bhajans, back in 2009 and 10, we had the opportunity to go to one satsang. And there, she used to go and she learned this bhajan, Srinivasa Govinda. So she used to come and wake me up every day singing that bhajan. Initially, I used to get very irritated. What is this? She is learning bhajan and coming and irritating me, disturbing me that time. But eventually, what happened? I understood. Okay, fine. It is her happiness. So I used to keep quiet. Never I objected to get up anyway. Lord's name only. Slowly, through various ways, she introduced me to the system of Swami, and she is one of the very critical aspects in my life which actually helped me to develop bond with God. So yes, she is the one actually who helped me, or is still helping me even today. She is the one who guides me towards Swami. At the same time, it is my father also who actually supports, because both of your parents support you need to do anything. I cannot what I say, I cannot make my father feel bad about anything and do something. So yes, definitely mother leads the way. At the same time, father is the backup for me who actually supports. So yes. So yeah, one thing which I really would like to say, that you asked me how I experienced Swami's love before I joined the institute also, is that my there was this one day in my undergraduation course. I had so many friends. I was into all sorts of things. I mean, like going to movies, going around everywhere. There were times when I used to see 3-4 movies a day. I used to study also, but then somehow in my second undergraduate time, I understood that the friends which I have are probably not. I don't say they're bad, but somehow they do not gel with my philosophy. They used to make fun of Swami also, because that time precisely I was getting into the folds of Swami, and they used to make some fun. But then I used to keep quiet. It is their perception. Why should I say anything about it? But the cherry on the cake was when I got 97 marks in my accounts in the university, and I got the top marks. That's when they started circulating these kind of rumors that I cheated and I got marks like that. And that's where some kind of division started between them and me. Of course, I cannot go and tell everybody that what they were telling was not correct. So I remained quiet, and I chose to be silent on this. But then things escalated, and I seeing that a lot of issues are going on around. So there was one day I went to a satsang. I just prayed to Swami. See, Swami, I don't know who is good and bad for me. All I know is that you are there with me. You be my friend. That's enough for me. I don't need anybody else. I don't know what you're going to do, but see that you are there with me as a friend and as everything. And that's it. You won't believe, the next day I get call from so-called my friends. They call and tell, see, Srinivas, like this, it is there. We don't want to continue friendship with you. Like, it may sound very strange to you, but you will never call anybody and say that I don't want to be friends with you. That's how I get calls from them. And that's how the friendship discontinued. And today, if you ask me, I don't have any friends other than Swami. Yes, I have my colleagues. I say hi, hello to them. But I have only one friend, that is Bhagwan. And that's how this is one of the very beautiful experiences where you tell Swami that, see, Swami, I need you. That's it. Let alone you be there, and let everybody not be there. It doesn't matter to me. You see, Swami will just respond to you within a span, within just no time. This is one very beautiful experience I had.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, Srinivas. And I see Sastri Uncle just unmuted his mic. Sai Rama, Sastri Uncle.
Sai Rama, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Uncle.
Chiranjeevi Srinivas, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, Uncle.
My name is Pappu, Sastri Pappu. You were not born when I had the opportunity to be with Swami and all that. Your point about body consciousness, I would like you to remember that Swami was making you conscious of your body by reminding you that you are not eating properly. That is an important lesson from God. And that is exactly what Swami is conveying to you, Chiranjeevi Srinivas, that A mistaken notion about body consciousness is as dangerous as any other misconception about one's own self. And that is what Swami was trying to remind you. In the spirit of the bhajan, remind me, O Lord. I am Om, etc., etc., etc. People sing in the bhajan. When you ask the Lord to remind you, he essentially is telling you that you don't have to ask me to remind you, because I constantly always be there to remind you of your lapses. And one of the things that he has reminded us in that poem that you just showed in the video is Talli Prema Taluka Sunnitam. Sunnitam in Telugu word is softness. And Swami has described as to how soft it is, the mother's love. And he compared that with jasmine flowers, sampangi flowers, peacock's eye, etc., etc., etc. Such softness is impossible to fathom as to what is the measure for such softness. For gold, to find out its purity, you have a stone on which you have to rub it. Geeturai. Similarly, for mother's love, there is no Geeturai. Because none has ever been able to understand as to how soft a mother's love is, and therefore no scientist has ever come out with a prescription of an instrument that can measure the softness of a mother's love. And therefore, for those who do not have a biological mother, God is the only alternative. But for those who have biological mothers, God is also the alternative. That is the reason why we say Tvameva Mata Cha, Pita Tvameva, and etc. to Tvameva Sarvam, Mama Sai Deva. Everything, all encompassing, cosmic force field. And that force field has the ability to attract, like a magnet can attract all the iron filings that are scattered around it. And so those who have been exposed to this Sai magnet, as it were, should thank their mother and father for having the wisdom to send their boy to an educational process, to be in the educational process that Swami has established. But let me tell you, because I was involved in the establishment of Satsang Institute of Higher Learning, Satsang University, etc., etc., because I was given the opportunity. It is a long story. I don't want to take much time here in that. Your aunt will show you a picture that will demonstrate to you as to what my involvement with the establishment of Satsang University is. But during the course of the Satsang University and Satsang Institute of Higher Learning establishment, Swami asked me as to who should be the chancellor of that university. When you stand in front of Swami and Swami asks you a question, knowing full well that whether you tell the truth or whether you tell the untruth, he knows. And therefore, there is no point in dithering about it. And if that is the case, when he asked me the question as to who should be the chancellor of that university, I told him, Swami, it is the norm and it is the universal practice of the guidelines of the University Grants Commission and all that, that the state governor would be the chancellor of that university. That is how the universities are established. That is the practice. And Swami said, oh, I didn't know about it. But that is a little bit of mischief there that he doesn't know. But he wanted to find out for a question that is put, whether I will be honest to myself and honest to him. It is both a test for me as to my integrity. And when I said that everything is yours, Swami, and therefore why do you need a position? And therefore the chancellor should be according to the norm. And afterwards, in the governing council meeting, that point was discussed at length and all that, but that is a long story. See, the lesson here is that, do you know that everything is mine? If so, are you truthful to yourself and truthful to me when I put a question to you. And so Swami's educational institutions, as you might have by now realized, because that is exactly what an MBA here is. How is it different from the MBA elsewhere else? A PhD here, how is it different from a PhD from some other institutions? How is it that a science student from here is different from a science student somewhere else? Is the question that each and every student should put to himself or herself when they have the opportunity to be a student at these institutions. What they study is the same material that everywhere everybody else studies. But there is something extra that Swami wanted to give to an individual besides the conventional education, as something as extra as to what is the meaning of being a human being. What is the meaning of a man of integrity? What is the meaning of a man of truthfulness? And not only to give talks about it or lectures about it or anywhere, but show me in your face that you have the stamp of integ Satya Dharma Shanti Prema. And that symbol, that 5 values written in the form of a lotus petals. Swami did that while walking with a set of people along the Chitravati river. At that time, the people were, are no more here. But when they were walking with him, it seems that they said that they asked what would be the insignia of the mandir that we are, or the ashram that we are planning, Swami. And immediately Swami took a stick and then drew this picture of this lotus like leaves. And then on those leaves, he wrote these words of Satya Dharma Shanti Prema Ahimsa. And these 5 values he considered and advocated as the chief human values. And therefore, the question that we need to constantly ruminate over, in my opinion, is that what is the meaning of value? Since you are an MBA student, what is the meaning of value? And how to improve that value over a period of time. And that over a period of time is from the life cycle of an individual. And that is exactly what Swami has been. That is the main purpose for which he wanted conventional education system with an extra dose of something which is characteristic of his advent. That is the lesson I have learned by when he had given me the opportunity to be a part of this scheme that he has so beautifully planned. And it so happened that after I came near him, yesterday I made a very egregious, I should say, a mistake in my identification of Easwaramma, for which I apologize. It was actually his sister, his body sister. So pardon me for that misidentification. But when I came near him, hardly a couple of weeks after that, the principal of Vrindavan College was searching near Swami's mandir, or the old mandir, asking for who is Dr. Pappu. He is searching in the premises for a person named Dr. Pappu. And everybody who assembled there waiting for Swami to come out and give darshan, and then afterwards go to the tree, under the tree and all that. Everybody was saying to Narendra, the principal, we don't know who the hell he is. Because nobody knew. And that is as it should be, because I was an unknown. But then finally, when I saw the difficulty into which Mr. Narendra brought himself into, I felt that it is my duty to tell him, sir, you are uttering the name Pappu. I am Pappu. And then immediately Narendra said, Dr. Pappu, Swami has appointed you as a member of the governing council of the college. And here are the papers for the next meeting, which is to be held next week. And that is how I was given the opportunity to be one of the Vanaras of Lord Sri Rama in the building of the Setu of education, the enormous bridge of education, enormous bridge called education. And therefore, what one understands is that we as human beings are human beings in a space-time domain, but we had the opportunity to interact with a cosmic force came down to earth in order to be with us and mingle with us as one of us, but at the same time, with a twitch of his finger, he could communicate the most intricate aspects of any kind of human knowledge that one is needed to acquire in order to call oneself a human being. మాధవుడు పృథివీ మీద అవతరించుటకు కారణం ఏమిటంటే మానవుణ్ణి మాధవుడిగా పరిణామం చెందడానికి అవకాశం ఇవ్వడం కోసం. పరిత్రాణాయ సాధూనాం. That sadhu, that is the most important word, sadhu. And that should be related here to the poem that you just displayed in that video. Is sadhu is one of the most important qualities of that sadhu is sunnitam, softness. And that is what a mother has, and that is what by definition a mother is. There is no other soft human soul in the world than a mother. There is no other human living being in the world more precious, more to be revered than the mother. As yesterday I pointed out, look at the picture of Easwaramma and the picture of Swami. As I said yesterday, it is like as though a 3D printing model of Easwaramma was made instantly. Yes, he was made instantly by his will to enter the womb of Easwaramma. As he reportedly answered a question saying, is it prasavama? Is it prasuti? It means, is it entry or is it a biological conception? And he said, it is pravesamo. That means he's entered. And that entry process is via the cosmic force field entering the womb of this chosen mother. And therefore, God has appeared on earth many a time with this proviso or this process of entry. Look at Lord Rama. How did he come? Through payasam. Look at Krishna. How did he come? Through entry into Devaki's womb. How did Shankaracharya come? Through entry. Cosmic force field entering a human womb in order to be nurtured there for 9 months and then come as a human being. I'd like all those who are listening to this, listen to the talk of Mr. Srinivas and Mrs. Nagamani and all the others who have been giving you talks and making you listen to the story of the avatar, need to ruminate over the fact that when the cosmic field, force field enters a human being, there is a purpose, and that purpose is to remind that human birth to that human being who is that living being which is to be born, that irrespective of the gender, that entity is nothing but a quantum of the cosmic energy. And therefore, every living being is an Atman connected to Brahman. And therefore, what Swami has been telling, has told for 86 years, and admonishing man for his, let me put it very strongly, for his misconceptions and his indiscipline. There is no better person who has chastised man in so profound and strong terms as Swami. When Swami gets angry with a person, the anger shows. But it is not the anger of the kind that we have, or we experience, or we give it to somebody else. But it is the divine anger. Divine anger is essentially conveying the message to the person. Buddhi leda Manavatvam chedipoyindi neeku. Restore it, O man. The great opportunity that you have had, you are misusing it. Go on to the straight path. That is why he has chosen an educational process in order to catch the living beings young, so that an army of human beings with a value system attached to them could be reared and supplied to the world. And therefore, Chiranjeevi Srinivas, keep that purpose for which this avatar has come in full focus as you launch yourself into the weird world that we face each and every day. I am not a scholar. I am not a great intellectual. But I have 90 years of flesh and bones have been growing for the past 90 years. And therefore, using that as a prop I can say, since you are all trained to say humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Baba, and then immediately say respected elders. And therefore, here is a 90-year-old infrastructure that is asking you to be a worthy student, a worthy human being, and a worthy Sai Gunatma. As you start your full life in this world. That is, your aunt is a very special person for me. For a number of years, I knew her and I know her, and she is like a daughter to me. And she has given me some opportunity to sing the glory of Swami. And what all I can do is to share that joy of being in the force field of Swami for a number of years, and what it means to me, and what is it that I have learned from him. May Swami bless you and your parents, and be a good example to the community in which you live and to your future family that you will build, and be true to yourself always. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sastry Uncle, for sharing that. Always a blessing to hear from you.
Yeah, Sairama uncle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sairama. Thank
And
you.
thank you. And I see Sai Charan Dasu's hand is raised.
I'm on this window. I joined again. My video. I'm Nagmani.
Please, and please go ahead, Sairama.
అది నేను నా విండోలో సరిగ్గా రాలేదు అందుకని నేను దీంట్లో
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
no worries.
perfect.
Ma'am, just a final word, ma'am. I also want to thank Nagamani, ma'am, for sharing wonderful experiences of her mother. So her mother had a wonderful experiences, like she's really a great devotee, and how she was able to completely, means that is an example of Shanta Bhakti, like Bhishma, okay, who has no interest in Bhishma was a character who had no interest in his life. He just dedicated it to the service of God and to the Hastinapura. So in the same way, I was just reminded of the character of Bhishma when she was narrating about her mother experiences. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing your wonderful experiences.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, Nagmani garu మీరు చెప్పాలి అంటే ప్లీజ్
చెప్పండి.
మీరు మాట్లాడండి 1 minute ప్లీజ్.
చెప్పండి సాయిరా.
Sairam, thank you so much, Nagamani auntie.
So, Sairam.
So Sairam, brother Srinivas, on behalf of the Kansas Sai Center, we'd like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing such divine glimpses of Swami's divinity. Next, we'll be chanting Maha Mrityunjaya Mantram 3 times, followed by Harati and Vibhuti prayer.
Sairam, before chanting Maha Mrityunjaya Mantram, if anyone wants to share any of their thoughts or comments, please feel free. So Srina's mother is here. Sairam. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Mangalahari. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Swami Satya Sai Hare Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Pati Maheshwara. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Sashivadana Shrikara Sarva Pranapate Swami Sarva Pranapate Ashrita Kalpalatika Ashrita Kalpalatika Apad Bandava. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Mata Pita Guru Daivamu Mariam Tayumire Swami Mariam Tayumire. Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nagendra Sayana. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Omkara Rupa Vojasmi Bosai Mahadeva Satya Sai Mahadeva. Mangala Harati Anduko Mangala Haratulanduko Mandara Giridhari. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om. Om Jai Sadguru Deva Sai Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva Sai Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om. Om Jai Sadguru Deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
जय। परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं बाबा विभूतिम् idamashayami. Sacred, holy, and supreme is Baba's Vibhuti, pouring forth in brilliant stream display of Vibhuti. So auspicious is its might, it grants liberation. Baba's Vibhuti, its power protects us. Paramam pavitram Baba vibhutim paramam vichitram leela vibhutim paramartha ishtartha moksha pradanam Baba vibhutim idamashrayami. Sai Baba vibhutim idamashrayami. Oh.